In the heart of a quiet village, nestled at the end of Pepper Street, was a little food stall that smelled of firewood and spices. It was run by Amaka, a young woman known not just for her delicious local dishes, but also for her bright smile and kind heart. Every afternoon, Joseph, an okada rider, would stop by the stall after his rounds. It became more than a habit, it became a ritual. He'd park his bike, walk over with his helmet still in hand, and say, "Amaka, give me the usual." She always served it hot, and sometimes added a piece of meat for free. Over time, the friendship blossomed into love. The village folks teased them gently, calling them Mr. and Mrs. Pepper Street. And life was simple and sweet until the day Emmanuel arrived. He was sharply dressed, spoke softly, and drove a clean, black car that glinted in the sun. He stopped at a maca stall for the first time and asked for a taste before buying. One spoonful was all it took. "This is magic," he said, his eyes locked on hers. Amaka smiled, flattered. He started visiting more often, each time bringing compliments and curiosity. He spoke about life in the city, about opportunities, and dreams beyond the village. Amaka listened. She was intrigued, not just by his words, but by the world he represented. Joseph noticed the change. Amaka's mind seemed elsewhere, her smiles more distracted. He began to suspect something was going on. One evening, he parked his bike a few stalls away and watched as Emmanuel leaned in to whisper something to Amaka, making her laugh in a way Joseph hadn't seen in weeks. The firewood smoke drifted between them. The once simple love on Pepper Street was now tangled in choice, curiosity, and the quiet fear of losing something real. Joseph's heart sank as he watched the exchange between Amaka and Emmanuel. He had always been the one to make her laugh, the one to bring light to her day. But now, this stranger was taking his place, stealing little moments that he once held dear. The next day, Joseph arrived at the stall earlier than usual. Amaka was preparing the food, humming softly to herself. When she saw him, her smile was warm but distracted. "Good morning," Joseph greeted, sitting down on the wooden stool beside her. "Good morning, Joseph," she replied, still focused on stirring the pot. "Is everything okay?" Joseph asked, trying to hide the unease in his voice. Amaka paused, looking up at him, and for a moment, she seemed to search his face for something. "Yeah, just busy," she said, offering him a smile. But Joseph could feel the distance between them, like a silent wall that had begun to rise. Later that afternoon, Emmanuel arrived again. His car stopped just a few feet away from the stall, and he stepped out, looking as polished as ever. He greeted Amaka with a soft, "Good afternoon," and Joseph watched from his seat, his stomach twisting. "Emmanuel," Amaka greeted him, her voice light and warm. "Would you like your usual?" "Yes, please," he said, sitting down across from her. "Your food is truly something special, Amaka." Joseph stood up abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against the ground. "I'll take my usual too," he said, his voice sharper than he intended. Amaka looked at him, surprised. "Joseph, what's wrong?" I just don't understand why you're spending so much time with him," Joseph said, his words coming out in a rush. "I mean, you used to only care about me and the food, but now?" He trailed off, unsure of how to express the hurt that had been building up in him. Amaka's eyes softened, and she placed a hand on his arm. "Joseph, it's not like that. Emmanuel is just different. He talks about things I've never thought about. He makes me think about my future." Joseph clenched his fists, frustration rising. And what about us? What about our future? What about all the moments we've shared, Amaka? Don't they mean anything to you? Amaka hesitated. She could feel the weight of his words, but something inside her was pulling her toward Emmanuel's world, a world full of possibilities and promises. I don't know, Amaka whispered, her voice trembling. I don't want to hurt you, Joseph, but I'm starting to see the world differently. I need time to think. Joseph's heart broke as he turned away, storming out of the stall without another word. Amaka watched him go, her chest tight with uncertainty. The days that followed were a blur. Amaka continued to serve her food with a smile that never quite reached her eyes. She couldn't stop thinking about Joseph, about their love, their history, but she also couldn't ignore the pull she felt toward Emmanuel. Then one evening, as she was closing up the stall, Emmanuel appeared again. This time, his tone was different, softer, almost serious. Amaka, he began, his voice low. I know you've been struggling with your feelings, and I don't want to push you, but I need to ask, have you ever thought about leaving this village? There's a whole world out there, Amaka. You deserve more. Amaka's heart raced. The offer was tempting, the idea of a life beyond the quiet village. But something tugged at her. Something in the familiar rhythm of her days with Joseph, in the comfort of a life she had always known. She looked at Emmanuel, her eyes conflicted. I don't know if I'm ready for that, she whispered, almost to herself. Emmanuel smiled, understanding in his eyes. Take your time, Amaka. But remember, you don't have to stay in this village forever. You have the power to choose. As Emmanuel left, Amaka stood there, the weight of his words pressing down on her. She felt torn between the life she knew and the life she could have. That night, as the village quieted down and the stars twinkled above, Amaka sat alone by the fire, thinking of Joseph, the man who had loved her for so long, the man who was still waiting for her.